Hello everybody and welcome back to Dusty Cove, our realistic series. So it is now the second month of summer, it's now midsummer, and one thing which I want to just say here is, well, it was pretty obvious that the entire time, but basically a single day is an entire month. So I think that is still the best way of playing. And the reason why is because things progress at a decent rate. If we were to do maybe 2 episodes per month, it would actually take a very long time to get through a year. In real time, as we're only doing 3 episodes a week, it's going to be a while. Between winter and winter, it's going to be maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So I don't really want to do that. I think this is the perfect setup. So, first things first, let's just check up on our animals, and this is very important. We have to make sure they're very happy. Otherwise, we're going to be losing potential money. So, as you can see, the water is great because I've just done it. Well, in fact, there is space for a tiny bit more, but we'll top it up in a second. The corn is the biggest problem. It isn't really possible to get it, so pig food is our solution to that. When it comes to wheat and barley and canola and all that kind of stuff, we do have some. When it's dramatically low, we'll top it up. But the thing is, what I want to do really is get the harvest in. The harvest is going to be done in, well, possibly the next episode, but most likely the episode after that, because it actually goes into autumn quite a bit. So, yeah, 2 episodes time most likely. Today, we're going to be doing the spraying, and also going to be cutting. We're going to be doing the first cut, which is actually quite a late first cut, in field number, always need to remember this, number 2. So that's what we're going to be doing as a priority. We play at times 15. That is the time scale. Let me just top this up a bit more. There we go. And yes, they're not going to die. There's going to be no issues there. Now the reason why we need to really rush with the grass, which I didn't really want to do because I don't like to rush in a realistic series, is because the cows are not too happy. They are lacking grass as a food. And yeah, they're just not really appreciating it. So that is our priority. Now, what I've done is I have bought a secondary Joskin water tanker. So we have another one over at the cow farm. This being the pig farm, obviously. Drop it off there, and it can stay here, which I think is going to be the best solution for us. Faffing about going between the 2 farms with just 1 tanker is going to become tedious. So that is going to be a nice little thing to speed the job up. Now, I do have one concern, and that is making sure all of the fields are fertilised correctly before harvest. Now, I have spent another 2 hours between the previous episode and this episode spraying them all. When I say spraying them all, I mean all of the cereal crops. So if we go on to here, you can see field 42 is actually fully fertilised, 100%, nothing else to do. It was ploughed as well, so it's 100% productive. The other fields, they're all on the second one, with the exception of field 24, which is a grass field, and 7 and 11. 7 and 11 do need to be done. 11 isn't quite as important as that is sugar beet, and if we go onto this page here, and then find sugar beet on the list, here it is, you can see that the harvest of sugar beet is quite late. They all stop at the same place, but it doesn't start as early, so we don't have to rush quite as much with that. Everything will be fertilised 100%, but it's just getting the timing right. So first things first, the grass. It needs to be cut. Now, I did actually have an initial idea here of buying the Massey Ferguson forager from the Black Sheep Modding Massey Ferguson pack, which would have been great. But then I thought, hang on, no, wait. I think it isn't the most suitable machine for this Let's Play. The mod itself, fantastic, really is nice. I've used it already in single player on my own, and it's absolutely perfect. But just not for this realistic Let's Play. There's nothing unrealistic about it, it's just I would prefer to use mowers mounted to a tractor. It is just the style of it, really. I just think it's a little bit too old for this series, but it's still brilliant in its own way. So please, nobody get the wrong idea. Fantastic mod. So yeah, let's just drop this off. This is basically our yard work tractor. We don't really have anything in particular to do with it. It's just going to be mucking out, moving the water tankers, that kind of thing. In fact, yeah, mucking out, it might have to be done. But again, that isn't too much of a priority. It's more of a comfort thing to the animals rather than a productive thing. Although I'm sure if we were cows, we wouldn't be too pleased if our poo was swimming around us. So yeah, it does need to be done. There's the other tanker just there. Right, so let me just park up. There's our sprayer in front, which we'll be using later. And to be honest, I think the best tractor to use is going to be the Vulture, or Voucher. And we can actually put it back to front, because you've got the steering wheel at the back. I don't know what the name is that they use for that kind of machine. Vultures seem to be one of the primary tractors that do it. Just put this forward away. And actually I might give it a wash first as well, the Vulture tractor, because it is a bit grubby. It doesn't look very presentable. There it is. So I think we actually do have a mower already. We do. We have two. Yes, I'm going to replace this one here with the butterfly mower. We can afford the butterfly mower. It is going to be a very suitable and sensible thing to do. So first things first, let's get it mounted. We'll take it back to the store, see if we can get some decent money back for it, and then we can return and cut field 2. It won't actually be one on the front, one on the back anyway. They actually both get attached to the back, and then we basically drive the tractor in reverse if you've never seen it before. I have done it once before, after the entire time I've been doing Farming Simulator 17, just once. It was in Chellington, and I think it is about time we did it again. Put the beacon on. Yeah, so see you at the store. There's the crop, looking lovely. With the exception of a bit of dust coming off the grass, I don't think the tractor should get too dirty when we're doing this job. Some of you may think it's strange that we're going to wash the machine prior to use, but to be honest, it does need to be done quite desperately. You can clearly tell that it is a bit of a state. And yeah, I've been reading the comments again as usual. I always read the comments, and a lot of you are very pleased that we've got the Vulture tractor. I didn't actually choose to have it, it was already on the game, but I agree, it is about time we use one again. That's why I've kept it. I did want to try and keep the original feel of the map anyway, so the machines which we started off with I have loosely kept. Obviously the Combine Harvester has been replaced with an older one, weirdly, but no, it should be good. Looking forward to the harvest. So, yes, what we need to do is go into the mower section. It is the Novacat X8 ED. We're going to be buying it outright, no more leasing unless we're desperate, which we shouldn't be, with £1.4 million. And which is the front, because they've got 3-point linkages on both sides. Yeah, I think that's right. The trick is not to go too fast with this thing, because it is really tall. So this field number 2, is going to be grass, and to be honest, I don't think at this stage it's going to be anything else. Although, one idea I did have was to sort of split the field in two, because obviously we've got this track running through the middle of it. That is like a perfect natural division. So we could do half hay and half grass. We need to do silage as a bit of a priority. It's quite hard to decide really. Anyway, that looks much better. Brilliant white. So the other mower, as you know, is just through here. We may have to actually get it on the front first, just to get it out of there. I think it's actually under a shelter. Yeah, because clearly the height is tight. It's very close, but no, it's not going to be possible. So I suppose we could lower it, but no, we'll just do it this way. The sensible way. Even this is close. But there we go. So, I think once we get into the field, or at least near to the field, We'll get it all sorted out. Obviously, if we do drive into the grass itself, it is going to destroy it. So we must be incredibly careful here. The fertilizer spreader has already destroyed some of the crops, well, the grass, when we did the fertilizing. But we don't want to do too much. Oh, look, you can see where I turned around here. This can be the area we use. So if I now go back up to it again, I think we may have to unfold it first. Not necessarily. And hopefully get hitched on. Now it'll only go one way. It can be a bit confusing. Luckily I've got it right first time. It's very unusual. Now it's time for us to do a bit of a dance inside the tractor. If we go back onto here, we'll be able to change the driving direction by pressing left control and B. Yep, we disappear and then reappear. It's always very fun to do from in the cab because you get to spin around in circles. Now that's all set up. Here is our steering wheel just here, all of our controls. If you've been playing this game all this time and you've never even known about that, then you have been missing out. It is an unusual experience because all the steering is back to front and the pedals are back to front, but I'm sure I'll be able to get used to it. Yeah, because forward is now reverse. Weird. So, let's get it all started up. Unfold that first. Turn the beacons off and begin. Fuel usage is very high. What a mouthful, I've just eaten my words. Here is our solar panel. How's that doing? Oh, beautiful. Very good. So it's already effectively doing this as 3 swaths of grass. One thing I really want to do here is stay very close to the hedgerow. Obviously not in the trees. We'll be damaging the mower, but as close as possible without looking ridiculous. Maximising the amount of grass we can get from this. Because as you know, well, at least for anybody who's played Seasons or watched anybody else play Seasons, you will know that the winter time can be very harsh. If you've not got your supplies in, your feed for the winter, you are going to be stuck. Or at least your animals are going to be very angry with you and they will eventually die. So we do have to have a very good stockpile of feed. We're going to be doing another cut of this field in a few episodes time. Second cut, possibly even a third cut, although that could be a bit of a push. Get as close to this track as possible as well. I may just have to go out of cab view. It does look weird watching a tractor go in reverse, I have to say. But it is a real thing. This is done. So, I think really, as there is such a large area to cover, I've got to do both sides. This is going to be best suited as a time-lapse, which may make this video a bit shorter, since a lot of it will be sped up. But yeah, I'll see you in a second. Well, we have got very close to the end of the field, and we're just finishing off here in this little corner. Let's see, everything else is done. And while doing this, I have now decided exactly what we're going to be doing. This side is going to be rowed up instantly and collected with the forage wagon, which I'm hoping we do have. I'm pretty sure we do, but if not, I can get one. And the other side is going to be tedded. Well, we're going to wait for it to dry first, then ted it, and then of course we can row it up and bale it, which would create hay bales. Now we actually do have a baler already. It's the New Holland round baler. It would make sense to use it as it's already here, but obviously I'll have another think about that later, and we'll decide exactly which baler we're going to be using for the job. It won't be baled today anyway. It's going to take at least a day to dry out. Well, I suppose a day in this Let's Play is actually about an hour, considering a day is a month. It's all a bit mind-boggling, but yes, it is the best way of doing it, I think. It should be the most realistic way, at least. So yeah, we're just going to finish off here, and then we can begin to row it up. It's a job that can be done straight away. I mustn't forget, though, to do the spraying. Now what I'm going to do is begin spraying at the end of this episode, and then between this episode and the next one, I'll finish it all off screen in my own time. It takes about 2 hours to do the farm. That's if you're doing all the fields twice. Obviously we're only doing it once this time, so it shouldn't take quite as long, although some of the fields are pretty big. And this field won't be done this time either, because obviously we've just cut it. So maybe half an hour to an hour. Getting an awful lot of great demands. That was for wool, which does not apply to us at all, since the sheep do not exist yet. We don't have any. We will get them at some point when I can manage it. I think it would be next year. Sounds like a long time, but actually next year is in about 2 weeks. Just the way it is. A funny way of lifting these things up, but when I did it, when I lowered them again, they all switched off. Let me try it, let's see if it switches off. Oh, is that alright that time? Weird. I'm not sure. Maybe I was on the wrong setting. That's why I wasn't lifting it up before. Anyway, there we go. Sorted. Now we can fold things up. And actually, we can change the driving direction. So let me just stop here. And we'll spin it round. Make sure I get the correct machine selected there. Perfect. Right, so all we have to do now is go back to the yard, and then we can get the windrower. I'm not too sure if we have one. We may have to purchase... Oh, I can see it from here. But yes, we may have to purchase a forage wagon or a loading wagon, just depends what you call it. Look at these crops over there, looking very healthy. I've actually succeeded, at least so far I've succeeded. We mustn't celebrate until it's actually ready. There's the oilseed rape over there. You can tell it's summertime. The issue might be storing these things. They are big. That could be a good place. It's very heavy, all of this. You can tell by the way the wheels are rubberizing, if that is a word. Is that a word? Have I just created a word, or is it something which everybody's always been using? I'm at risk of sounding like a fool. Then again, I'm always at risk of sounding like a fool. So can you disconnect? Yes, you can. With the other mower still attached. Perfect. It's actually a very good place for it. Now that seed drill there is actually annoying me. I don't have it OCD or anything, but I've left it at such an angle, it just looks ridiculous. There we go. Isn't that better? It was worth it. Right, I don't think we need that tractor again. Where did I see the windrower? I definitely saw one. Where was it? I'm sure I saw one. Yep, I definitely saw one. It's there. I think the Ford tractor and the New Holland tractor possibly, for this particular job. This one on the windrower. We can use the worker for this job, just to save us some time, because it's already 5 to 3 in the afternoon. It's taking forever to do this. We have got to get cracking. These cows are desperate for their food. I've still got to do the spraying. So that can go there. Now, are we going to have to buy something? Yes, we are. Now, this is a big farm. Then again, we don't have that big fields. They're not entirely huge. So maybe the Bergman. The price between those two is not really justifiable. Really isn't. I'm going to have to go with this. So I'll go and pick it up with the New Holland tractor. And I'll see you in a second. Here we are. So yeah, follow me is going to be required. Which is fine in this Let's Play. Because as you know, if you've been following this series, we're allowed up to 2 workers, not including me obviously. So we have 3 different people. The only concern is, I know that this forage wagon I should say, is going to fill up very fast. Because this is a productive field. It's been done twice, it's been fertilised twice. So it's going to be good. Try and keep quite a good distance on it. There we go, worker. And into our Ford. You're going to have to go a bit more central. And if you've been watching my series before, or in fact even if you've played this game before, you will know that if you turn too tightly with this, with follow me on the loading wagon, it can cause a few issues. Wow, another great demand. Wood chips this time. So much stuff. Shame we have none of the stuff which is actually a great demand. It's a real pain. This is the issue with starting at this time. As this is our very first year, we can't really reap the rewards as such. We have to keep nearly everything as a stockpile for the winter. Yeah, so turning tight here would be troublesome. I'm expecting it to miss something there. The headland is always going to be tricky. And what I need to do really is keep a very close eye on how full it is. So far so good. First load is going straight to the cows, they're going to have it, and then after that I'm not entirely sure, because I do have a concern that if you put it into the silage pit, it's going to convert this grass into chaff. Unless that was an FS15 thing, and I haven't really caught up. We'll try it. It's actually not a bad thing if it does do that, as we do need to have a good supply of silage, but we also have to have a good supply of grass for the winter. So I am not too sure. Load number 1. It does seem a bit counterproductive since we have to stop every time. Something like courseplay would be good. It's just I've never really used courseplay properly, so I'm not entirely sure how to do it, which is actually a bit of a disadvantage to us. Ah, this is still in here from the beginning. That is going to have to be moved out. The Massey Ferguson tractor should be able to just tow it out of there. Won't be that heavy. It'll be empty, so we'll put it in the shed. Such a handy thing. We need it all the time. But there won't be space to turn around, so we're just going to have to reverse. And then after this, I'm guessing all we'll have to do is just drive through, tip on the ground, and it'll automatically put it into the trough. There it is, all attached. And then I think I can see a space just over here, near the combine harvester. We are going to have to use this silo king for the power food mix. But we can't do the power food until we have at least the hay and the silage. Obviously we've got the grass now, but it would tend to be straw, hay and silage in the mix. Don't know if you can use grass, but even if you can't do, we know that grass can be used as an extra food anyway. No, you probably can't use grass thinking about it. Right, let's quickly go and tip this and then we can check their page and see how they're doing. Wow, 5:10. This day has flown. We started about, what was it, about 5 in the morning. It's now 25 degrees as well. Luckily we have air conditioning in here. It's weird. I think I left the trigger. Oh no, that is actually it. And yes, remember it's sufficing it for 3 days instead of 6. It does make it more tricky. Let's just go onto this page just here and see how they're doing. So maybe you're forced to have just 3. Or maybe you have to have hay as well. I'm not too sure. Power food is the last thing that we require. So they took, what was it, about 18% there. At least they're all going over to the trough. Oh, unless they have some more of this end. Nope. I'm not entirely sure. I am learning all the time. Now for the learning curve of what a silage pit would do to grass. Will it stay as grass or will it turn it to chaff? If it turns it to chaff, obviously it's no longer usable as just grass. It will have to be fermented silage, which is good in itself. Now I don't know if there is a silo to store grass in on this particular map. If there is, we'll be okay. If there isn't, it may have to stay in the loading wagon. And looking at the colour of that, it's turned into chaff. Yep, it is indeed converting it. That's what it used to do on 15. So, let me continue, and yeah, spraying is going to have to be done, I should think, fully off screen. I'm not too sure. Maybe, yeah, looking at this, it's just going to be wiser to row it all at first. I'm not going to bother with the worker. It's a waste of money. It's taking a lot of time. The worker can be very good, but in situations like this, it just isn't really worth it. Unless it can drive back to the yard with courseplay, it's counterproductive. Obviously anything which is missed we'll come back to later. But that is a really good height we've got on this grass swath. No wonder we're getting so much. And I'm just going to follow the way we cut instead of going up and down the field. So as you can see, we're very close to the end. I didn't do this as a time lapse. I don't want too many time lapses. I think it would be a bit too much. But yes, we're going to time lapse the picking up of all of this, as it could well be quite a long job. So let me just spin around here. Yeah, what you got to be careful of is flicking the swath you've just done. Very easy to do, even in real life. If you don't lift it up, or if you keep it going over a very tall swath, it will just flick it everywhere. I sound like I'm talking from experience, but no. Honestly, I've never done that. So maybe it's not quite as possible. No, I have been told stories, so it must be pretty easy. Right, we'll finish off. There we go. So it's a bit wavy in a few areas, and there are several areas where I couldn't actually get the windrower in, but we should be able to get the forage wagon in. It's just all about space, really. So I'm going to go and park this up here. It doesn't need to go far. In fact, it can stay here, since it's going to be used very soon on the other side. That'll be Ted first, or tedded first. I'm not sure the exact word for it. So basically in about a day's time, that'll be done. It'll be within the same episode, because a day is a month. That could turn out to be a bit much, actually, despite what I said at the beginning of this episode. But certainly for this first year, that's what we're going to be doing. It is a little bit hectic, but then you see the thing is, what I worry about is it being just too long. You don't want the year to be too long, because it'll feel like forever between the harvests, it'll feel like forever between the winters. Although, hang on, no, wait, winters drag like mad. I wonder if winters drag like mad in seasons just like they drag in real life. Oh, I hate winter. It's got to be my least favourite season. My favourite, I would say, is, well, spring is very nice, obviously, it's a beautiful time of year, but the beginning of spring can still be very chilly. But obviously all the fresh growth on the trees, all the new buds, very nice. June is my favourite month. I have a favourite month, I don't think I have a favourite season. If it's possible to have a favourite month without having a favourite season, then that's it. You're going to experience a tight turn here. I think it's okay if you're the driver, it's just if the worker's following you, because they're following the track of the windrower and it doesn't follow directly. How are we doing? 61%. Not bad at all. Just while I'm doing this, the pigs don't require grass, do they? Pretty sure they don't. No. It is just the cows. It's already on amber. Well, I'm going to have to look into the half filling. I think it probably is to do with the 3-day sufficing, I would have thought. So we've got another 34,000 litres just here. So we're going to put it into the silage pit, and this is going to be, quite clearly, the start of our silage. Now my initial idea was not really to do any pit work like this, any clamping. I was actually going to do silage bales, but as it's turned out this way, this is possibly the best approach. We're not going to be doing much, and I would love to find a way of actually storing the grass. There we go. So, from now on, it's going to be a time lapse. So in case you're wondering what I'm doing at this stage, what I'm doing is just emptying this thing 50%, well, to 50%, and the reason for that is because we need to keep some in here until I've discovered a way of actually storing the grass. So, oh, that's close to that wall, very close. This is going to be all of our silage. Now you may be thinking, what? Seriously? Is that what you're going to do? Well actually, that is quite a bit. When that is fermented, that will actually last us all winter, I'm hoping. There is, how much is in there? Over 100,000 litres. So it should do. And actually, we do have another cut of these fields left to do. This is only the first field. We actually have 3 fields, I think, maybe even 4. So we don't need to go over the top, and we don't need to go over the top with storing grass either, because there's always more to get. There is still a tiny bit left in the field. The reason why I didn't fill it 100% because we didn't need to. Because what's left is definitely not going to fill this thing up to the top. But all of that certainly is going to be hay. It's going to be baled. Looking forward to it. And although it has been a very rushed day, it has been a very productive day. I think next time, when I know we've got a lot of stuff to do in a day, we'll keep the time speed at ×5. But if it's going to be a fairly quiet day, ×15 would be perfectly adequate. We can't really keep a set time speed. It's just going to have to be one or the other. ×5 is optimum. That is the perfect one. But sometimes there will be times, winter time especially, when we just can't find enough to do to have it at ×5 because we'll just be sat there twiddling our thumbs, which is never good. So the winter, I think, is going to pass fairly quickly, although we'll be doing jobs like snow ploughing, forestry, moving the manure to the fields ready for spreading in the spring. Basically, not that involved. It's just going to be fairly basic work, although I am thoroughly looking forward to snow ploughing. I've never done that before. This will be the first time ever. What am I doing? I just not want to go in there. I just want to go just in here. Yeah, my pedals have just stopped responding. What happens is if I tab out of the game, the pedals for some reason go off on my G27. So the steering wheel stays working, the pedals don't. So to fix it, all I have to do is just leave the game and come back. I just minimise it to find out some information. But yeah, just tip this again. Perfect. So yeah, that can stay in here just until I find a solution to it. I'm hoping it's not going to have to stay actually in the forage wagon. It's going to start to ferment, which would not be good. But off screen, I'm now going to do some spraying. I don't know if you'll be too interested in seeing the spraying. It's quite a repetitive job. I think what I might do actually is I'll do it and then we'll finish off in the next season, well, it's next month, and you'll see the finishing off of it. It's a very nice spray though. And the tram lines have turned out quite well too. We can just jump up. Tram lines, looks quite realistic. Anyway, thank you so much for watching as usual. I'm going to leave it there. And until next time, I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.